Hello and welcome to Nuts and Bolts. Fantastic to have you here. Got a great session on today. This is all about how do you encourage productivity in your team. Okay, so things have gone into a bit of a slump. You've got over peak period, everyone's tired, all those sorts of things. Or you might have inherited a team that really just do the bare minimum and that's about it. And it's really frustrating you. So how do you encourage that extra productivity in your team? How can you set that up for success? How can you move it forward and get those wheels turning? Because at the moment people's wheels are spinning, they're doing lots and lots of stuff, but it's not really getting anywhere and it's really frustrating you. So how are we going to turn that around? So there's a couple of things, actually there's quite a few things that I'm going to talk to you about today, and if you can take 3 or 4 of those and implement them in your workplace, you are going to see a difference. Okay, it will make a difference. So let's start. How do we encourage productivity in our team? Right, number one, you want to establish good communication. You want it to be open communication. So if something goes wrong, they feel safe to come and talk to you about it. So I think I've told you this story, but I had a leader in a big company. It was over 7,000 people in this global company, and he was very animated in his emotions. So when people came in and said, let's just call him John. His name's not John, but let's say John. So they'd come in and say, "Oh, John, I've got some news that the machine's broken down and we're not going to get that volume out today." And John's reaction would be, "Oh no! Oh, how are we going to get this?" And so he had this really animated reaction of, "Oh well, what are we going to do?" and all this sort of stuff. And the problem with that is that his team felt really bad about coming to him with problems in the workplace because he had this sort of reaction. So they just stopped telling him. So they just stopped coming to him with this stuff because they felt they didn't want him to feel bad. They didn't want him to react in that way. So all of a sudden the communication was gone. So if things were breaking down in the shop, he was the last one to know because no one wanted to say anything. So you want to make sure you don't have that, okay? You want to establish really good communication. So if people come in and talk to you about stuff, then treat them with respect. Give them the support they need to find a solution or whatever it may be. If you've got issues, get it out there. Get everything that you need and establish those good communications between your team and you and amongst the team themselves as well. The second one, know their strengths and weaknesses. So what you want to do, you want to leverage off their strengths. So if some people are good at something, you want to leverage off that, and then maybe they can be the trainers or the mentors to help other people do that just as well. You want them to be the champions of that. But they can't only just be good at it, they want to enjoy doing it too. So you're not dragging them along to come and work on this thing. They're actually doing it themselves because they enjoy it and they're good at it. So you can only do that if you know what their strengths and weaknesses are. And how do you do that? A number of ways. It's in your unlocking portal in module 2 where you discover your team. But there's many ways you can find their strengths and weaknesses. Number 1, you can ask them. Number 2, you can ask the rest of the team, hey, who do you go for communication stuff? Who do you go to for computer stuff? Who do you think's the guru on machine 2? You can ask them those sorts of things. Number 3, you can go and see previous employees or employers that had those people. Hey, what was Jimmy best at, do you think? And ask those curious questions. And then you would come and have a chat to those people as well and say, hey, Jimmy, do you know what? I've been looking at your strengths and weaknesses. I'd love to share some with you. I know you told me you're good at computers, but I also found out that you're really good at writing memos. You're really good at machine 4, and you are an absolute guru on fixing line 3. So, you know what I mean? So then you would have that conversation with them. So know their strengths and weaknesses. Number 3, reward their efforts. So if they recognised, if they do go out and over above, then that needs to be recognised. That, hey mate, good job. I know you stayed a half an hour extra last night and I really appreciate it, and we were able to get that volume out. So well done, mate. I'm really happy about that. That's all you need to do. That acknowledgement, that recognition goes a long way. So make sure you reward their efforts about any hard work that they might have put in. As a leader, you also need to set realistic goals, okay? So if you've got people that are really, autonomous and they don't need much direction, well, you can give them a goal and let them run and do it. You might have other people that struggle with big goals. These people you need to help chunk it down into bite-sized pieces and then measure it a little bit more. So instead of them coming to you for a one-on-one once a month, you might catch up with them once a week to say, okay, phase 1 of that goal, how did you go? What support do you need? What were your barriers that you went through? So all those sorts of things. So you'll have to weigh up how you can make sure that you're establishing really good goals for the different personalities in the group. Okay, what are we up to? Let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 5 already. This has gone quick. Be the good example. Okay, so if you want productivity to lift in your team, you make sure you're not sitting around in your ivory tower with your feet up. Really, really bad example to set. Okay, so you are the leader. You want to be seen as being productive yourself, being proactive. All those sorts of things are really going to go a long way, because believe you me, you are getting watched every minute of the day by your team. Every minute of the day. So whatever you're doing, you're setting the standard. So make sure it's a standard you want to be set. Okay, number 6, provide the team with the tools that they need. So it's no good saying to them, hey, listen, I want you to redesign that machine over there, if they don't have the tools, the know-how, the qualifications, the resources, the time, the budget. Okay, so make sure if you're going to give out tasks or projects or anything like that, that time is given, the resources they need that are given, the tools, the budget, the money, everything that they have to set themselves up for success. Okay, encourage feedback. So really, really important for them to be able to feel safe enough to say, hey, you told us to do that task. Well, we're struggling with it because we know that line's actually going to shut down. So tell us what the benefits are in that task. Because if we do it and then it gets shut down a week later, that was a waste of time. That's great feedback. Do you know what? That's brilliant feedback. Well, the reason I've given you that task on that machine is because actually it's transferable. We can do exactly the same on that one. But I want you to practice on that one because that one's just about to be decommissioned. So it was a good call and great feedback. And I should have told you that earlier. So allow people to have that feedback and be able to be quite open and honest and share things with you. So really, really important. Another one. Start the day with a really motivational message. So if you have what I used to see in one industry that I used to work with, they would start every meeting with, tell us about one good thing that happened to you this week. And it doesn't have to be a work thing, it could be a personal thing. So we would start the meeting and we would go around the table or on the phone or however you do your meetings, and they'd say, right, one good thing that happened to you this week. And there'd be anything from, I got to go to my kids' assembly on Thursday morning and she was so pleased that I was there because, usually I'm working, but yeah, it was all good. To, someone saying, well, I completed that ABC task and I was just so pleased to get it off my hands because I've been working on it for 3 months. Everyone was really pleased with the results and we're implementing into the workplace, tomorrow or whatever it may be. So everybody got to have a bit of a say about great things that happened to them that week. And it just set the tone for the meeting. Okay, so allow yourself an extra 10 or 15 minutes in your meeting and have that one good thing. Maybe just once a week. It doesn't have to be every day, but certainly allow that to be heard and recognised. The next one, engage in team activities to try and get people bonded together or working together more. Sometimes when you have lack of productivity is because they're not working as a team. They're working as a bunch of individuals that just want to clock on and clock off. If you've got that, you need to try and get that teamwork going. So engage in team activities, and you might only be able to do this once or twice a week. There's one activity that I want to share with you that I did a couple of months ago. I shared the story a couple of months ago, but I'll do it again. And that was when a company actually got their teams together and they decided that they were going to do a bit of a team day. So they got them together. They can only do it once a year. They got them together and they got a load of bikes, like kids' bikes, that were still boxed up in boxes. And they split all the teams up and they said, right, in your teams, you've got to put this bike together. And we're not going to time it. We just want it to be the best looking bike ever. And out the front here, you've got tassels and ribbons and, pens and all sorts of things to decorate that bike, because the best looking bike is actually going to be the winner, right? So the teams got together and they were putting the wheels on and the spokes on and pedals on and handlebars and seats and all that sort of stuff. And then they were decorating their bikes, making them look really flash. And the stipulation was it had to be safe because it was going to be ridden on that day. But what the teams didn't know is the organisers had already pre-organised a busload of kids from a disadvantaged sort of organisation. So these kids were all disadvantaged in some way. They picked them up in the bus. They brought them to this warehouse where all these bikes were getting put together, and they were able to give the kids a bike each. And you should have seen when these kids came in and there was all these magnificent bikes with streamers and, you know, and pretty ribbons and all sorts of things all over them. And these kids got given a bike and they were riding them around, and there was grown men with tears in their eyes. It was a beautiful bonding moment. And it allowed them to be able to work together as a team and have that really incredible moment together. So if you get a chance, try and engage in some sort of team activities to get your people working together a little bit more. That, if they work together better as a team, that automatically lifts productivity. Okay, because they'll start communicating better with each other, they'll leverage off each other's strengths, and you will lift productivity without any individual person doing any more than they're doing. So really, really important. I think that's all I've got. So let's go over them really, really quickly. So how do you encourage productivity in your team that might be just doing the bare minimum? Number one, establish good communication. Make sure everyone feels safe to come and talk to you. Number two, know their strengths and weaknesses. Really, really important. Leverage off those strengths. Number three, reward their efforts. Just a recognition, just a pat on the back, just words. It's all it needs. Number five, set realistic goals. So you might have to cater for different personalities and capability levels in your team, but make sure you do that. Are we up to number 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 5. I should have numbered these. Be the good example. Do not sit in your ivory tower. If you want productivity, you show productivity. Number 6. Provide the team with the tools that they need to succeed. That's resources, time, budget, whatever they need. Number 7. Encourage feedback. So you want to know what's going on in the background. You want to know when you can make changes for the better. So encourage that feedback. Number 8, start the day or the week with a motivational message, and that means go around and ask, hey, what's one good thing that happened to you this week? Or whatever you think would be appropriate for your team. And number 9, try and engage them in team activities. Get them working together, get them bonding. As soon as they start working together, productivity automatically lifts. All right, so I hope that helped. If you can do 2 or 3 or even 4 of those, you are on a winning streak, okay? Things will start to make a difference. It's not going to happen overnight, just like the shampoo ad. It won't happen overnight, but it will happen. So make sure that you try and take up as many of those hints and tips that you can. Okay, so that's it for today. We've got a great session on for next week, so don't miss it. But until then, if you've got any problems, issues, concerns, worries, burning platforms, just contact us here at ask@teamleadertoolkit.com. We will put a video together just like this one. We'll send it your way, and hopefully you'll find the solution that you're looking for. But until next week, until then, it's bye for now. Cheers. Thanks for watching.